What is it like to be twins raising babies at the same time? We thought that this would be an interesting video. Of course, if you've been on the channel before, you know that we were, thank you, pregnant, at least for part of the time at the same time, and now we both got babies.
Yeah, we do.
And we thought it'd be interesting to make a video and talk about what it's like to be twins, having babies. And if you hear a weird sound in the background that's currently happening, those are deer alarms trying to keep the deer out of the garden.
And there's motion activated, so pretty much anytime the wind blows, they go off. It works. Cool.
Thank you. I needed some water to wash that cracker down. There go deer alarms. Okay. What is it like to be twins and have babies at the same time? So, for reference, Katie's baby Ira was born in March, and then baby Woody was born in June. So they're not far apart, they're close together. And we did a video on what it was like to be pregnant at the same time, and so I'll leave a link in the description. So many things about what it's like to be doing this at the same time. What do you think?
It's really interesting because I feel like I'm able to, anytime I can call Corey and be like, has Woody done this? You know, because Ira's done this. Even though Ira's older, there's still things that are the same across the board as far as baby behavior. So there's been a lot of opportunities for me to say, has Woody ever done this? And Corey can say, oh yeah, he's done this. Or vice versa. Did Ira do this? Oh yeah, Ira did this. It's normal if Woody's doing it. So I think one really cool thing about it is that comparison, to always feel like, ooh, thank goodness I have somebody going through this with me at the same time, and we can share that experience, and that's comforting. And it helps too as far as just trying to learn and understand babies, because they're all complicated. There's no two the same. And especially with your first baby, you're always like, what is this? You know, I've never seen this before. And I would imagine, I already feel as if I ever had more children, I'd be able to say, oh yeah, I've seen this before. I know.
Absolutely.
Don't let this scare you, you know, that kind of thing. And I also think it's really interesting because I feel like we both, I don't know, I think we come to
motherhood?
Yeah, to motherhood. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. With the same ideas and the same mindset. So it's really interesting because I'll see Corey do things with Woody, or the way she puts Woody down, or the way that she gives Woody a bottle and all that. And I'm like, man, I do the exact same thing. And it's not even, I mean, we don't live in the same house. So it's not like we're influenced because we're together doing it all the time. We're not. But we're still doing the same thing, even though we're apart. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know that. I'll have to pay more attention. But I feel like there's definitely some things that you do that I do, and especially for me, what you said in the beginning, because Ira is older, you're able to help me with everything, and I'm able to say, well, is this normal? What about this? And what do you think about this? Because you've went first with everything, and that's just invaluable to me. And then both of us also coming into motherhood at the same time, that's just special. And I know for people who are not twins, it may seem strange, but we've always done everything together. And this was not planned together, but it's just how it worked out. And to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way. We've always done everything together, and that's so normal for us. And so for us, it's like, well, why would we not do this together? It makes sense. And I just remember when Katie was first pregnant, it was like, wow. And by no means did I try to jump in and be like, I want to get pregnant because Katie's pregnant. I thought, I'm 27 years old, and if I want to try to start having kids, you know, I don't have forever. I don't know that I want to be having babies when I'm 40, or that I really should be doing that. So I thought, well, I should just try, and it happened a lot faster than I thought it would, which, you know, is a great blessing from the Lord. And that's a lot of why we think that He wanted us to be pregnant at the same time. And it's just been amazing to get to do all of this together, and then coming into motherhood, because then once Katie had Ira, it was amazing for me to witness that and be there and see it all, because it's super special. But then from the perspective of learning, that was really awesome. And then practicing diaper changes and just learning all this information, almost like a trial run, so to speak. That almost sounds bad, but you know what I'm saying. But then there was also an aspect of once you, and that I did not see this coming, that once you had Ira and I was still pregnant, I was so lonely all of a sudden, in just a really strange way. I was like, how could I be lonely? I was so excited that Ira was here, and I knew that Woody would be here like a few short months later, but I was so, it's like, oh, it's so lonely out here,
And
still being pregnant without Katie.
And I was lonely on the other side, because I was like, man, I'm like deep inside the trenches of this. So if they're 3 months apart, by the time, yeah, I mean, I went through probably some of the hardest times that I went through with Ira, and Woody wasn't here yet, and I was like, and there was things that I thought, oh my gosh, I feel for Corey. I'm so worried. I'm so, especially when I actually went to have Ira, I was like, after I had him, I was so glad it was over with. And I was so glad that he was here. And my immediate thought was,
Corey has to do this.
Oh, man.
And I was there.
For my sister.
But looking back, Katie held back a lot of what she told me. I mean, I was there, but like you held back a lot of it because you didn't want to scare me.
Yeah, no reason to scare you. I mean, I thought to myself,
and there's no need to be afraid. It's just intense. It's just a hard experience is all.
Yeah, and you're always afraid of things you've never done before. But I remember thinking, like, even once Ira was here, man, these sleepless nights and all of this is really hard and it's really difficult. And I was really thinking, like, it's so rewarding, but it's so draining and so hard. And I was thinking, man, you know, Corey's going to have to do this too. And it's so funny, the boys are night and day. Ira's just
very different.
He's real wild and doesn't need to sleep a lot and doesn't sleep a lot. So he's up most of the day. He might sleep a total of like an hour during the day. Maybe more if I'm lucky, probably not. And he does sleep for the most part at night, but he's a very fitful sleeper. So it's not like, oh, you just lay down
not
and...
super restful.
No, it's not very restful. And Woody is the opposite. So it's so funny. Some of the things I had in my mind of, you know... And it's funny, fitting that I would have a baby first and that I would go first because I'm 2 minutes older and it seems like I've done a lot of stuff. Not everything, but some stuff first. And I thought, man, you know, Corey, I'm feeling...
made sense.
Feeling for it, and then Corey has like a really calm and chill baby. So that's a really interesting comparison.
Yeah,
and then
how they're different.
That's something else that we do. You can't not compare. And I know they're two totally different babies,
yes,
but
of course.
It's so interesting to compare them to each other and be like, wow, they really are two total polar opposites.
Absolutely.
Personality-wise and behavior-wise.
But as they get older, I will be interested to see how much of their personalities are alike.
I think,
that's one thing that I maybe didn't realize to become aware of till I got older. Being a twin and being as close as we are, you just subconsciously compare everything. Mm-hmm. And, you know, yeah, that can be bad sometimes if you're like, well, I wish I was more like her or whatever. But a lot of it is just, you don't even mean to. You're just, well, when Katie did this, it was like this. Or when I did this, it was like this. You just...
Yeah, you spend your whole life.
You just spend your whole life with the same person mm-hmm. and the same
doing the
experience.
Same
things. And it's crazy, though, because... It makes me think about a set of twins. They're quite a bit older than us, but twin girls, and they look just alike. And I do think that they're identical, but I'm sure that they're close, but they're not incredibly close. Because I remember talking to the twin that we knew the most, mm-hmm. and that her sister was about to move to Spain. And I remember thinking, your twin is moving outside of the country? Like, there's just no way, not unless I really don't want to live in Spain. But if you just really had to live in Spain, then I would just have to pick up and probably move my life to Spain.
No way. That's exactly right. I'm like, no way.
You know?
And hey, that's no problem. If you don't do that, that's great. Like, you know, but I would have been, absolutely. I would have been like, no, I really don't want you to leave me.
I made some notes on my phone. I don't want people to think I'm texting. I just didn't want to forget everything.
You're picking up a pizza. Yeah, that's kind of DoorDash and a pizza, how they do that here in the country. I'm sure that would work.
And then the pregnancies, that was another thing. Our pregnancies were so similar. Yeah. They were like spot on, but then the births were so different.
Night and day.
And it, that's okay, but it's just, that's a whole other aspect of when we think about doing this together. That's what I think about a lot, is how similar the pregnancies were, but how different that the births were. And then even now, Katie's breastfeeding, and that just really didn't work out for me.
Right, and that would explain the water and the eating, because that is one thing about motherhood and breastfeeding. You are constantly starving and thirsting to death. So it is really interesting, that comparison of everything was so spot on, but then the births were different. And then our experience afterwards is totally different. I have the baby that's just quite a handful, and you have a baby that's a little bit, that's just pretty chill.
Pretty chill.
I'm breastfeeding, you're not breastfeeding. There's just different things about it. I feel like I ended up healing faster and kind of feeling more like myself quicker And it's because I had a little bit of in one way, I had a little bit of an easier birth than you did.
Yeah, it's pros and cons. I mean, I feel like they kind of equal out, just in different ways. But we're very different.
I almost feel naive to think that it could have all been the same. I kept thinking, oh, it's going to be exactly the same.
I did too.
The pregnancy was the same. That means the birth's going to go the same. That means the kids are going to be the same.
That's what I thought.
I even thought the boys would look alike.
I did too.
And they really don't.
Not really.
They really don't look alike at all. There's a few, every now and then, fleeting little things, but for the most part, I don't ever look at them and think they look anything like each other.
Not really.
They don't. Ira looks a lot like me and Corey did when we were babies. When I look back through baby pictures,
across the eyes,
his head shape is our head shape. His little eyebrows and something right across there is Corey. He looks more like Corey than he does me. And I thought that on the ultrasounds, I was like, isn't that so weird in black and white to be like, that's my sister?
Yeah.
But I thought that. And I think a lot of the times there's little facial things that he does that I'm like, that's my childhood with Corey. I don't even see me. I just see her. So then I kept thinking, Woody's going to look like me. And he does not.
He looks just like his daddy. He doesn't even look like me. But when he yawns is when he looks like me and you. But I probably hadn't told you this, but when he yawns, I see you every single time. More than I see myself. When he yawns, I see you every single time. It's the way he does his nose and the way he does his mouth. But I thought that too. I thought, well, these babies are going to look alike somewhat. They're going to look, like favor opposite of us, if that makes sense. Like
but
opposite.
They don't. I mean, Ira looks like you, I think, and Dad. I will say too, I love being mothers and being twins at the same time because it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
Oh. It's just like the most rewarding thing that I've ever done.
It's
and
awesome.
That's good. Curb that. That's good.
Curb the tears.
That's right. I can get that. Cut that off. Don't let that happen. But it is. It's so rewarding, and then get to enjoy this super fun and rewarding thing together. You mean the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life?
And we get to do that together.
And we get to do that together. And something that I thought was the very opposite of the very best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. Something I was very worried about and afraid about. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the best thing that ever happened in my entire life. And of course it was from the beginning. I just was worried and concerned. And so, but to share that excitement and that joy together is so wonderful. It's so fantastic. So
it's just, I mean, it's just incredibly special. And like, I mean, I feel like I'm almost repeating myself a lot in this, but just, we've done everything together. And I'm so glad because of that, because we're so similar. I mean, we went through school all the way together. We got the same degree in college. We had all the same classes.
Then we both had boys. We're both raising boys.
We're both raising boys at the same time. And that's another thing that is so special is, thank the Lord, because we were able to move back here to our aunt and uncle's house. Now, of course they don't live there, their old house. I just wanted to clarify. I'm living with my aunt and uncle. No.
They live somewhere else.
I'm just kidding. They live somewhere else now. But now, I mean, I can look over my left shoulder here and see my house. And the boys are going to be raised like that. I mean, they're in the house right now together. And that is so special. And that reminds me, at the hospital, before we left, one of the nurses I had, she was my favorite. She was a really good nurse. She said that genetically, the boys were more like half brothers than cousins because of us.
Right.
And I thought that was really interesting, that, and even if that they didn't have a lot of that, like, shared genetics, still just getting to be raised this close together and this close in age, it's just incredibly special. And I also feel like it's a somewhat, not like, I'm not going to say rare, but unique thing for twins to be raising babies together at the same time.
I definitely think it's unique, because if we go back to the very beginning, so pregnant at the same time, and like I said, it was not planned. It could not have possibly been planned, but it's just what happened. So, pregnant at the same time, both have boys, both bring them home to the same place, the same holler, the same location. Because when Corey got pregnant, she didn't live here.
No.
She wasn't living here. It was only a couple months before Woody was born that they got moved in.
We moved in April, and then he was born in
And I have one more for you, and I'm really glad that I was thinking in the summary, kind of summarizing, both boys were born in the same hospital room.
They were both born in the same room.
When it was time for me to have my baby, they just took me whatever room labor and delivery room they have available.
Room number 4.
Room number 4. And then when it was time for Corey to have hers, Woody was born in room number 4. So I was like, the boys were born.
That's crazy.
In the same bed and the same doctor. He delivered them.
And then we had, one of the nurses was the same. I know at least maybe later on you had Denise as a nurse.
I did. She was the night nurse.
And I had her as a nurse.
So all of that, and then both boys come back to the same holler, and now Woody wears Ira's clothes. So it's just insane. But that whole idea of the boys live in the same place, but especially that they were both born 3 months apart in the same hospital room, in the same bed, delivered by the same man. And I was just like,
wild.
Wow, you know.
But that to us, I mean, when you think about it like that, I'm almost like, wow, that's almost spooky. Like, not in a bad way, but that's so normal to us that I wouldn't even think twice about it.
I wasn't surprised at all when I got to the hospital that night about 8 o'clock for you to have Woody.
I knew it'd be the same room.
That you were in the same room, and I was like, man.
And I was glad. I was hoping it was that room because I had been in there when Ira was born, and you know, when you've been somewhere the first time, you're more comfortable.
And then that's another aspect that we were both at each other's births. I was there. I saw Woody born. You saw Ira be born.
His cord.
Yep. So. Wow, it's just, it's totally crazy.
And I have a feeling that it'll be something that we're not only like enjoying, obviously, raising our children together for the next forever, but also just, you know, things that we'll be unpacking. And, you know what I'm saying? We'll always have this appreciation to what I'm trying to say.
Something to think about, something to consider for.
Because even as I think about it now, like you said, like, same room, 3 months apart, same doctor. We live in the same, you know, the boys are basically within seeing distance of each other. Woody's wearing Ira's clothes.
Yeah, it is crazy. And then some other really fun things that make the boys tied. Before Woody got here, I would go down to visit Corey at her house, and Ira was already born. So Ira was the first one to have his diaper changed in the nursery, first one to be rocked and put to sleep in the nursery, in the crib. So... And then, of course, when they're up here, I'm like, I have all my diaper changing station, all my stuff ready.
And we just share.
We just share the diaper changing,
share everything,
and all that stuff. So,
and we have like the same taste in clothes for the boys. I mean, it's
we buy each other stuff for them. I'm like, look at this, I got one for Ira. I just decided to get one for Woody.
I'll be completely honest, and some people may think that this is. I mean, some people might say that this is bad, but I'm just going to say it. It almost seems like subconsciously we're raising the boys as like twins.
I know, isn't it strange?
Yeah. Isn't that kind of odd? Like, I just realized that. I mean, now the boys have different personalities, and we appreciate that.
And we're going to make sure that we foster that.
And so we're not, we're not trying to like clone them to each other or anything like that.
But it's going to, I mean, you can't help it. You know, you've seen all these crazy stories, and I guess they're true about twins that get separated at birth. And they end up
finding each other.
They find each other later on, and then they're doing the same things. Like, they're driving the same car, living in the same house with the same paint color. Like, you know,
doing everything the same.
They have the same job, both work for some corporate office, isn't it? And then you're like, oh, this is really weird. And both of them, like, have a dog named Rudy or something weird. And you're like, this is so freaky, you know, because I've always said, well, everybody would be like that if they spent their entire life with the same person. And you may be, like, if you spent your entire life like Irish twins who are only 15 months apart. But there's something to be said for, like, then I really start thinking, okay, well, Ira was in my belly, but we were both in Mom's belly together.
I know.
We were together. Corey could hear my heartbeat.
I know.
And I could hear Corey's heartbeat. So when they brought us home from the hospital, Mom said until we started messing with each other, till we got old enough to do that. So I put you in one crib. I wasn't going to separate you. Y'all fell asleep every night together. Y'all napped together. You guys did everything together.
And apparently I potty trained you.
Corey did potty train me. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So...
And I think you taught me. You helped me learn how to ride my bike, I think.
I did, yeah. Well, we'll tell. We're gonna one of these days. We're gonna make a separate video. I'm gonna go ahead and the idea's gonna start now about funny childhood stories, because I've got a funny one with Corey and her bicycle, and I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. It'll be a separate video of funny childhood stories, and it's a good one. So be looking for that.
Absolutely.
Should probably wrap this up. This is probably
I think this has been pretty good. I just feel so blessed to get to, you know, do everything together and to get to do life together. I mean, it's such a special blessing, and we love that we're getting to raise the boys together, you know.
That's right. What would we do without each other? What would I do without you? I have to charge my cell phone because Corey's the only one I talk to, and I burn that phone up, and she's
the only one, you and
right
Austin.
there.
And I don't text Austin much because he's at work, but we're just talking all day. Sometimes we get on the phone and we talk for 3 hours.
We do. We did this morning.
For 3.5 hours. I think that's also just a sister thing, because I've seen and heard a lot of other sisters do that. And they're not even really talking. They're just more like doing stuff, and they're just like,
Yeah. Just to be together.
To be together.
Corey could come out on her porch and say, "Hey, Katie," and I could talk back. Like, that's how close, we live to each other, but...
And we feel just so fortunate.
Oh, yeah.
We love it. We couldn't imagine having it any other way.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I was so excited when I found out that y'all were going to move back, because when Corey got married, I was so excited and so happy for her, but I'm just going to be selfish and tell you, I was hurt. My heart was broke. Now, two things can be true at once. I was really happy for her. My feelings were hurt. Hard. I'm like, I lost my best friend, but she only lived like 15 minutes away, and I was like, okay. But then when I found out she was coming back, I'm like, I shouldn't have shed one tear. She's just coming right back. She was just going to be right here. I should have never cried, and
we just had no idea.
Of course, I was happy for you.
Oh, of course. But see, the roles were, and see, I had the easy thing because I missed you, but then I had the new husband and the new house, and you know what I mean?
Lord, I'm telling you something. The funniest thing about it is I brought Ira home to the same bedroom that I was brought home to 27, almost 28 years ago.
I know.
Me and Ira are living in my childhood bedroom, and if you want the honest truth, the 100% honest truth, I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't, because this time that I can give him with my parents
is so special.
It's priceless. And one day he's going to look back
and really appreciate it.
And it's going to be very special to him.
And even though Woody
is special to me.
Well, absolutely. And even though Woody he's close to both sets of his grandparents, praise the Lord. But even as close as we live to Mom and Dad, he won't be as close to them as Ira is. And because Ira loves you, and that's special. That's something that's really sweet. And that was another reason why we were so glad to get to move back, and just having a baby close to family. So even if we were living right next to my husband's parents, just given
side,
yes, given the given a baby that closeness with your grandparents where you can just walk up to their house, that's so special. And we know that because that's what we have, because right in front of us is our grandparents' house.
Yep.
And that is just incredibly special. So
that's right, my grandma's still there, so that is very special. And I'm excited to recreate what we had, because I feel like we had the perfect childhood, and we're literally it's so funny. My aunt and uncle lived in this house that Corey and Austin live in. My grandparents lived in this house. We lived in this house. And for me, it's literally not changed at all. As far as Ira's point of view, of course, we live in Grandma, and Grandpapa's house. Get them all confused. But it's not changed for me, because his aunt and uncle are going to live right here where mine did, and my grandma, so his great grandma lives right there, and it is like spooky, peculiar. A lot of people would be like, "You've got to move out." I'm not leaving. No. Because see, this woman does my laundry and this man cooks my food, and they pretty much just take care of me.
Them.
No, I do. I have a job. I work like a dog.
Absolutely.
I burn my little fingers up because I've got about 5 minutes every hour, so I got to go fast, and I can go really quick. But anyway, God is good. That's what I know. God's been better to me than I could ever deserve. Why He loves me, I'll never know. But I love Him, and I'm thankful.
Me too. It's amazing that we're able to live this close and raise the boys together. It's just awesome. I wish that everybody could have a twin. And there's lots of siblings that are close too, and that's awesome.
I wish everybody
There's pros and cons to everything, but I wish everybody
close
could have
family,
a twin.
And I know a lot of people do, but I know a lot of people don't, and that breaks my heart. That hurts my feelings, because
it does me too. But
it's a gift.
You can be our family. You are. If you're watching this video, you're our YouTube family.
You've been inducted.
You've been inducted into the family.
Adoptive Pressley family.
Absolutely. So we got to get off here. Speaking of the babies, we got to go check on the babies.
Yeah. I wonder what my child is doing.
But we always appreciate y'all watching, and God bless you, God keep you, and we will see you on the next one.
We'll certainly see you at the next one.